Indoor World Cup final. And there's Mike Schlosser on the right and Pierre-Julien Deloche on the left. So Mike Schlosser deep in thought right now, or maybe just trying to clear his head. Which is it?
I suspect he's just trying to stay loose, trying probably not to focus on too much right now. I recently heard that a genius can only focus on something for 18 seconds. So the rest of us mere mortals need to be able to break our focus so that we can, when we're trying to hit that 10 ring, we can focus for the few seconds that we have available to us, get that arrow shot, let our focus break, let our mind wander a little bit, set up for the next shot, and be ready to focus again.
Mike Schlosser certainly seems focused. He was focused 2 weeks ago in Nîmes, where he shot that perfect score of 600. Has never been done before.
Well, and the question is, where do you go from here? He holds the last world record indoors. There can be no more.
Right now, he'd just like to get that win here in Las Vegas, where he had so much success a year ago. Pierre-Julien Deloche.
And there will be another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other concurrent matches. We will try to keep you up to date on what's going on in those matches as well.
But we'll focus on this one right now, as Deloche, who finished second and got the silver medal in Lausanne last fall at the Outdoor World Cup final, steps up to the shooting line along with Mike Schlosser.
Ooh, that was quite the follow-through. But the arrows are gone fast.
Pierre taking his time.
That was a much better shot. The first one almost looked like it surprised him a little bit, but if it surprises you and it's in the 10 ring, that's a good surprise.
Schlosser hoping to remain clean here in the first end.
And he does.
Waiting for the scores to be updated on Pierre-Julien Deloche, who has gone full-time now in archery, devoting full time and attention to it.
Very nice.
Which is his passion. I spoke with PJ last night at the banquet. He's very happy and content right now to focus 100% of his time and efforts and energy on the sport he loves.
The scorers have called that arrow a 10, even though there was some debate in the arena, and that's a solid 10 there. So the archers have 2 minutes to shoot these 3 arrows. Mike Schloesser clearly has a much more rapid rhythm. Works for him. Pierre-Julien is perhaps a little bit more deliberate, a little bit slower. It works for him. Different rhythms will work for different people. Different archers will hold for different lengths of time. You have to, when you're determining your shot, you have to determine what works for you and work with that. If you try to rush your shot, you're going to get mayhem. If you try to take too long and it's not your style, you'll fall out of the shot and it won't go where you want it.
All individual preference.
Within the 2-minute allotment. So there's a lot to be said. A lot of the coaches would say a slightly quicker rhythm is in a lot of ways better. It deals better with wind, which we don't have indoors. It gives you a little bit more of a chance, if something goes wrong, to have a second crack at a shot. That sort of idea. If you have to have a letdown, it gives you just a little bit more of a buffer for error. But if you're just shooting 10s on the first try every time, take all the time you want.
And Pierre-Julien Deloche taking up most of those 2 minutes. Mike Schlosser with the quicker trigger finger. But both of them through that first end cleanly, tied up at 30 all. The other match going on right now in men's compound, Peter Elazinga and Stefan Hansen from Denmark.
That's actually quite remarkable. In the compound men, there isn't a single American remaining.
Well, on the women's side, It's an all-American affair right now.
And there you are.
The 4 archers in the women's compound in the semifinals, all from the United States of America. Of course, in the recurve competition, 3 Korean men, along with Rick van der Ven from the Netherlands.
As it currently stands, Rick has a 2-point lead in the set play.
And in recurve women, 3 Koreans and Lenola Pritchard from the United States.
That's a lot of 30s put up by the Koreans there. In the first match on the recurve side, it's Ji versus Kim. They both shot 30. In the second match, Min shot a 28 to Rick van der Ven's 29, so Rick gets those 2 points. That will be an interesting match to watch.
And in women's recurve, Kim with a score of 30, leading Lenola Pritchard, who scored 29, so that match is at 2-0 right now, as is the other match between the 2 Korean women. And we get set for the second end now. Here in men's compound. And Deloche drills another one.
So if we get another look at Mike Schlosser's target, you may notice that the high hole on his third target, the one near the bottom,
yes,
it has been sort of filled in. That's a common technique because these compound guys with their magnifying scopes, they can see that hole so clearly. The eye is attracted to that hole, and in Mike Schlosser's view, that hole was a little bit too far outside the center of the 10 ring. He didn't want to be looking at that while he was aiming. Pierre-Julien Deloche did not fill in his, and you'll notice he shot a second low 10 on that second spot.
And it's a 9 on his second shot.
So there's that filled in hole.
Yes.
I bet he'll be filling in that low one too.
Now Schlosser has yet to miss on his first 6 shots. Pierre, now they put an asterisk up, so we'll wait to make
it looked
the
a long
official
way
call.
out. I think it's probably a 9. 9 stars the right call unofficially, but it looked a long way out. These are big arrows. It's a little bit of a different trick to figure out where those arrows are. That one.
No doubt about that one. But Pierre thinking about that second shot of this second end. And in this competition, just one arrow off just a little bit.
That can be the difference.
That could be the difference. Could sway the way this match goes. Mike Schlosser, calm, cool, collected, which is what you would expect out of a young man who's accomplished what he has at such an early stage of his career and at such an early age. Great shooter, though, from the Netherlands.
A country that produces excellent shooters.
Oh, one after another. One after another. Peter Elzinga's out there right now.
As is Rick van der Ven.
Yes.
Well, PJ's having a really good look at that. He wants it to be a 10.
He's wishing, trying to will it into that 10 ring, but it may not be the case.
Then we've got a judge on it. He's taking a look. So it's close enough. Of course, Mike is not going to just accept an arrow that close. He's going to get the judge to call it. There has been a definitive call. The judge just walked away. We're too far away to hear what he said. But it has been resolved.
So the discussion continues, and now the recording of the scores. And we'll try to get you updated on the other ones. That does appear to be...
That looks out to me from here. That's not the world's best camera angle to be able to call that. He's taking another good look.
Pierre trying to find any way possible.
Well, it's too late. He's touched the target face.
Yeah.
Well, and he's already had a judge call. In the World Archery system, you get one judge call. That's the answer. If you bring in the judge, whatever he says is the final answer. You don't get to object. You don't get a second call. And especially once you've touched the target paper, everything's invalid.
Hugh, you've been out there in this situation on many occasions. After something like that happens, how do you put it out of your mind? Because he has to put it out of his mind.
Well, he got the 10. So
he got the 10? Okay. So he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yep. So he doesn't have to put that out of his mind.
That might be his birthday gift right there.
There you go.
That's the birthday present that came for Pierre-Julien Deloche. It looked to ours, from our standpoint, our viewpoint, as though that might be out, but those who had a better look at it.
Closer and with a magnifying glass. It's amazing the difference that you can see with a magnifying glass. I've done it a couple of times where I've been looking at an arrow, and with the naked eye, I would say it was out all day long. But you put that magnifying glass on and you can see clearly in. It's remarkable the difference.
So we're tied at 60 heading to the third end right now.
Another 10. I am surprised he's not shading in those low holes. He's creating a little bit of a black hole. And again, I did call it. Mike Schloesser has filled in that low 10-9 as well. So he really wants to punch a dead spider right through the center of that bottom target. He doesn't want any distractions, bringing his eyes away from the center of the target. There we go. That's a much better second shot.
Meanwhile, in the other men's semifinal compound match, it was Stefan Hansen leading by 1 over Peter Alzinga, 59-58, heading into the third end.
Lexi Keller's taking a clean round and a 1-point lead over Krista Galvin. And Erica Jones, 58-55 over Dahlia Crook. So Erica Jones is still coming on nice and strong.
And we'll update you on the recurve after this end is over for Pierre-Julien Deloche, as well as Mike Schloesser.
Gets a 10. Shot a hole he's already hit. I love doing that.
Sweet shot. Beautifully done by Pierre-Julien Deloche.
That's interesting. The running score on PJ Deloche's scoreboard is 89.
Meanwhile, Mike Schloesser still perfect.
Well, theoretically, PJ is also perfect. So that's why I'm a little confused by the scoreboard there.
I have to wonder if there's still some dispute about that second arrow on the second end.
I'm not sure what's going on. The online score says that it was 10-10-10. There's a technological glitch that has happened somewhere, and I'm not sure which way is correct.
So we're a little bit in the dark right now as to whether this match is tied or whether Schloesser has a 1-point lead, and it all traces back to that second arrow of the second end for Pierre-Julien Deloche, which was heavily scrutinized.
The judge took a good look at it, but the judges are excellent. World Archery has done a lot of great work to put together quality judges. They only pass the judges who have the credentials, and that creates a very, very fair competition across the board for all of the athletes.
Right now, updating in the recurve, Rick Vanderven has fallen behind 4-2 after he shoots a 29. Min Byung-yeon shoots a 30 and forges ahead in that match, 4-2. Meanwhile, Kim Jae-yong apparently headed for victory against his teammate, or countryman, I should say. They're not necessarily teammates here in Las Vegas.
Well, and he's clean. He's shot 30-30-30. That's the way to do it. That's the way to keep your fate in your hands. If he shoots another 30, there's nothing that G can do.
On the women's side, Lenola Pritchard trailing 5-1 now as Kim Min-jung has gone up 5-1 in that match. And the other two Korean archers, Sim Yi-jae and Jo Sung-yeon, are tied up at 3-all.
Both with 2 30s and a 29.
So the battles go on.
That is excellent shooting on the recurve side. It's excellent shooting across the board.
And right now we are waiting for the scoreboards to be updated here at the South Point Hotel and Casino.
The flip cards between Peter Alzinga and Stephen Hansen is what we're waiting for there. It looks like Stephen Hansen's dropped another point, so if Peter Alzinga was clean, then we have a tied match over on our second compound match.
And it would be tied at 88 all.
Yes.
If that's the case.
Which I don't think it is. I think Peter Alzinga dropped one. I think he's got 87. And they're replacing his target face.
Uh-huh.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get behind your
indeed that's the case, 88 to 87. Crystal Galvin has managed to catch up to Lexi Keller. It's now 88 to 88 on the women's compound side there, and Erica Jones has maintained a 4-point lead now over Dahlia Crook, 87 to 83.
Crystal has had a very good winter indoors.
And it's an all-USA women's compound final shaking up here in Vegas.
So right now, here we go. It is a 1-point lead for Mike Schlosser, 90 to 89. After the first 3 ends, the first 9 arrows.
So that, in some sense, adds a little bit of pressure to Mike, because on top of the slight need to continue to prove the fact that all he does is hit 10s all day long. In the first 2 days of the Vegas shoot, he's shot 659x, so he actually missed one of those 10s once out of 60 arrows. Here he has 15 to do.
It does not happen very often.
It doesn't.
In fact, it's rare.
But PJ needs it to happen in order to have a chance.
And then he's got to take care of his own business.
Yeah, PJ needs to stay clean from here on out, and he needs a little help from Mike.
Another 10 for Schlosser is
not getting the help he was hoping for.
No, Deloche trying to stay within himself.
He's shooting excellent. The size of that 10 ring from 18 meters, basically put a penny at the end of your driveway. That's sort of what you're looking at. Depending, a standard suburban driveway. I'm not talking a farm lane that's 150 yards long. A standard suburban driveway is about 18 meters. And you put a penny, sort of balance it on the curb at the end. That's what these guys are hitting time after time.
Right now, Mike Schlosser has a hold on this match. And Pierre trying to put this one in the middle of that target to try to stay within 1. Heading down the stretch, and he's outside in the 9 ring.
Ooh, that's a solid 9, and that's probably the game right there. 2 points to play with. That doesn't sound like much, but that's a pretty big breath of relief from the perspective of Mike Schlosser. I think Lenola Pritchard is now out, just sort of looking at her target.
So Mike Schlosser in the driver's seat right now as he goes down to retrieve his arrows, along with Pierre-Julien, Deloche. But Schlosser refusing to miss, and Pierre barely off on his 5th shot of the match. And then here in the 4th end, missing clearly, landing in the 9 ring, and now trailing by 2.
Yeah, there's no doubt about the second 9 whatsoever.
So if you could get a bet down now on Mike Schlosser, if anybody would take that.
It would be fairly safe, I would say.
I think it would be a safe bet. But you never know. You never know.
That's why you shoot the arrows.
Mm-hmm. Pierre wearing the lenses out here. Obviously, a lot of archers have gone to those. Talk about that a little bit, Hugh. The advantages?
So what they're saying is that it sort of levels out the lighting. I'm a little surprised. I've talked to a few archers about them, because a few of the archers who I know are sponsored by Pilla aren't wearing them, and it's because the lighting in here is a little bit dim. So any filter, any lens is going to block out a little bit of light here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you have to have really, really good dim light vision in order to be wearing the lenses, but they cut glare, they're polarized, they really brighten up the gold, they give it better definition, so you really can get a good look at what you're aiming at.
The vision is much sharper, right? Theoretically.
Yeah, it helps you define the target. It helps you focus on the target face itself. It helps bring that to life, more than just the flat paper that you and I see.
Mm-hmm. So the athlete of the year in men's compound in a little bit of a conundrum right now, down by 2 with only 3 arrows left to shoot. So basically what's going to happen here is Mike Schlosser is going to have to miss on 2 of these next 3 arrows.
Miss the 10. If he misses
the 10.
altogether, it's a
Right, miss just the 10.
Yes.
If he shoots 2 9s,
or if he really messes up and shoots an 8, it's game on. The recurve matches, there's only one still going on. That's between the 2 Korean women. And that's a 3-5 match. Here we go in the last match, last end here for the compound men.
right down the middle.
Solid 10. So as per usual, the recurves are using a set play elimination, and the compounds are using a cumulative score elimination round. So that is why 3 out of the 4 recurve matches are done, and there's still all 4 compound matches going.
Right, they'll go the full 5 in compound, whereas in recurve it could be over in 3.
Correct.
Zeroing in on Pierre-Julien Deloche as he zeroes in.
There it is.
It's
That's
over.
3 10s. That's a perfect 150 for Mike Schlosser. Nice shooting.
Is that why they call him Mr. Perfect?
He is stealing that nickname. That used to be Rio Wild's nickname, but he got Mr. Perfect for shooting the 600.
It's interesting, ironic, because he did lose to Rio at one of the earlier stages here on the indoor World Cup circuit. Pierre finishing up strong with 3 straight 10s, but he will end up coming up 2 points short. Comes over and congratulates Mike Schlosser, who will move on. And Pierre-Julien Deloche done for the night.
No, he isn't. He's in the bronze
That's
medal
right.
match.
You're right.
Nope, this was just the semis, so PJ's got another match. He'll be back on screen soon enough. Actually, he won't be. We were going to be covering the compound women's bronze medal match. But PJ will be involved in the bronze medal match up against Peter Elzinga.
Mike Schlosser, very composed. Knows there's a lot of work still left to be done here in Las Vegas, where he came away winner last year. Comes down to survey his work, and a job well done by the young man from the Netherlands. So Erica Jones is going to be shooting for gold, we'll now see.
Which is not a terribly huge surprise. She's been shooting very, very well all day long.
Schlosser won his 1/8 round match by 2 points, wins this semifinal match by 2 points.
And he won his quarterfinal in a shootout.
So under pressure, he does not fold. Puts his John Hancock
It appears
on the
that
score sheet.
Jo Seung Hyun has won the match there. So there are no shoot-offs in this round. All the medal matches have now been decided.
And the show goes on here at the Vegas Shoot, here in the United States of America. Las Vegas, the site of so many great sporting events over the years, and now we can include the Vegas Shoot. Of course, the Vegas Shoot's been going on for quite some time down
I
here.
was going to say, it's not about now. It's 30, maybe almost 40 years now.
Yeah.
It's moved from hotel to hotel, for sure. It was in the Riviera for a long time.
In fact, it's grown so much now, Hugh, they may have to actually think about trying to find ways to expand here at the South Point or look for an even bigger venue.
There are still some spaces that aren't being used. There's another, where we are right now is in one of the arenas for some of the horse events that happen often here as well. There's another 2 arenas. One of them is currently being used as a practice range. It's possible that one of those, there's a second one that isn't being used at all. So one of the tricks is all of these targets have to come in. What I heard this week was from Yankton, South Dakota. Which means that if they're going to use another whole range, they're going to need to bring in another 30 or so target butts, and these things are not light. They're not small, and they're not light.